Hey everybody, this is Rich Fontaine with the Power of Self-Entertainment with another daily motivation. And I know what you're probably thinking if you watched my video earlier today. You said, Rich, you did a video earlier today. Why are you back? Why are you here in our faces? Because of always going the extra mile. Today I decided to do a 2-a-day. I remember when I was first starting to work out, I grew up as a chubby kid. Even in high school, my eating habits were terrible. Early in college, my eating habits were terrible. And I decided to really get in shape and fix myself my freshman year of college. And I started working out and everything like that. And I remember going to the gym, and when I really started getting into it, we started doing 2-a-days. And I remember the lady, she was on the front desk. She saw me in the morning come in and work out and leave. And then she saw me later in the evening come in, and she was like, "Wait, weren't you here this morning?" I said, "Yeah." I was, because I was very ambitious. I knew that I slacked for so long in my life. I knew that I slacked and I was wasting time for many years. And so I knew I had to double time to make up the time that I missed. I had to double time so I can make up the time I miss. See, I can't go at the same pace as somebody else that's ahead. I have to go in the double time, triple time, quadruple time sometimes. And when you go the extra mile, I truly feel that people understand that you're serious. I remember when I had a job once and I used to come in early and I used to stay late. They bumped me up to, first I was just a regular worker, as a project assistant. Then they moved me up to project assistant manager. Why? Because they said, man, this guy, and I was taking 3 months because I went the extra mile. I feel like whenever you go the extra mile, people say, that person is serious. That person is not playing games. That person is right on to what they need to do. Which leads me to number 2. The second reason why I'm doing a 2-a-day is because Facebook stopped letting me share my posts. They say I'm sharing too much, whatever that means. And so on my professional, first they said, hey, I couldn't do this on my personal page. Then they say, hey, you could do this on your professional page. And now they stopped me from sharing my professional page. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back to my personal page. Why? Because I'm like water. If you are a rock or a dam in my way, I will find a way to maneuver around it. It reminded me of the segment with London Real, where they had a gentleman named David Icke on there, and it was a really good interview, and they took it down off of YouTube. They took it down off of Facebook. And so they decided to create their own platform so they can send that message out. See, there's 2 types of people when you reach adversity. It's the first person says, well, that's a wall. We can't get past it. We get to a victim. They won't let us do anything. And so you retreat to the victim. You retreat to say, well, it's not fair. Life's not fair. But there's a second type of person that when they hit adversity says, okay, I'm going to go even harder. I'm going to go even harder. And that's the type of people you have to be, to go the extra mile. When adversity hits you, it's not a sign to retreat. When adversity hits you, it's a sign to go harsher, to double time, to triple down on whatever you're trying to achieve. See, at the end of the day, we can let an adversity, something hit us and make us say, well, shrug our shoulders and say, well, hey, that's it, that's life. Hey, Tommy, how you doing? Or you could be the type of person that says, okay, there's a wall in my way. All right, so how are we going to we're going to go over it, we're going to go around it, we're going to go underneath. How are we going to get around this wall? And we find the crevice, the easiest crack to get around that wall. Remind me of a movie I saw the other day called Togo. If you haven't seen Togo, it's one of the most inspirational movies I've seen. And it was the owner, he owned this dog named Togo, is a Alaskan Husky, which I really want an Alaskan Husky. Maybe that's why I fell in love with the movie. But either case, he kept trying to lock him in cages, but he kept breaking out. And the owner was the dog was driving him crazy. Every single time he tries to lock hey Marilyn, hey Jazz, every single time he tries to lock the dog up, the dog finds a way out. And so he says, okay, let's see if you can get out of this one. So he puts him in a nice cage, right? And puts blocks on the cage so he can't push it out and he can't dig his way out. And so, the dog is sitting there thinking, no, I don't want to be locked in. I'm not going to be locked in. The other dogs, they had other puppy huskies. They were already locked in. But they just sat there. They said, well, we're in our cage. We can't go anywhere, so we'll just stay here. But what Togo did was he found a little crevice, a little bit of light, and started digging and started digging and started digging until he created a large tunnel from deep inside the cage all the way out to outside the cage. Why? Because there's a spirit, there's a mentality that says I will always go the extra mile. I will do a 2 a day. I'll do a 3 a day. If I need to, I will be alive all day. Why? Because when you are relentless and you have a relentless spirit and you cannot stop the will, you cannot stop the human will. When you tap into that, that's God sent. That's God energy. That's God force. You cannot stop it. Nothing can stop the human except the human himself or herself. So when you really want something, there is no excuse. You'd be willing to go twice a day, 3 times a day. I'm willing to study hours upon days to get my degree, an engineering degree, not trying to brag. It's not easy. I was willing to study all day, every day to get what I want. Why? Because it meant more. I'd rather struggle than disappoint my family. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm on. If I rather suffer, then Jazz suffers. I rather suffer than my parents suffer. I rather suffer than my sisters suffer. I will volunteer as tribute. Why? Why would I volunteer as tribute? Because it means more to me that they're good than I'm good. People don't realize, right now I'm a little under the weather. I'm a little under the weather, man. I'm feeling stuffy. I got a headache. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling great. But that doesn't matter. At some point, none of that has to matter. One of my best speeches I've done, I did with the flu. Why? Because at some point, you have to say, no, I will not stay in my cage. I will not stay in my cage. I will find a way out of it. Even if I have to dig a large tunnel. Like, that's why some people's favorite movie is, when did the guy escape from jail? Man, I forgot the name of the movie. When the guy escapes from jail and goes through the tunnel. And it's that moment when he gets out of the tunnel and it's raining on him. He's finally free. That's the moment that we're going for. It's not the struggle up to it. It's that moment when you say, I finally did it. I did it. That's what it makes it all worth it. When I finally got the degree, I said, I did it. When I finally started my business, when I finally wrote my first book, I said, I did it. And it's that feeling alone, that feeling, that is all makes it worth it. So again, I like to show the work ethic. I like to say I'm not a type of person that says it and doesn't live it. I'm not a type of person that's just giving you lip service. I live this every single day. You don't understand. If you saw my day, you'd be like, wow, Rich is wow. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to say anything like that because it is not for that. But I wake up at 5 a.m. and my day sometimes doesn't end till 10. Back to back things, writing books, writing articles, publishing, working on the workshop, working on my relationships with people. I actually got to make a phone call as soon as I get out of here. I almost forgot. But I do it every single day. Why? Because it's worth it to me. When Facebook says, hey, all right, we're going to take off your videos from your personal, you got to do in your professional, and they try to stop me on my professional, I'm back on my personal. And this is not a challenge, Mark. But this is just a show. There's nothing in the world that will stop the will of the man or the woman. So if you feel like you're reaching an adversity, you feel like you're hitting a wall, you feel like, man, every time I try something, it just not work out. I'm here to tell you, I'm giving you permission to not retreat, but to go harder. Double time, 2 a days. Again, when I was working out, first time I started working out, I started doing 2 a days. Why? Because I had to make up the time that I lost being lazy. I had to make up the time I lost being just not in the zone and making excuses. So at some point, your excuses has to leave, and only your results will come. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to be the person, the one that stays in the cage? Or are you going to be the one that finds a tunnel, makes a tunnel, creates a tunnel to get yourself out of there? Again, this is Rich Fontaine. Either you could agree with me or not agree with me. But either way, I feel this was a successful conversation. Please check out my official Successful Conversations on YouTube. I just dropped the first episode yesterday. We got 11 episodes coming. They're awesome. They're very insightful, and it'll help you get over these humps that are in your way. Again, the walls are there for a reason, to weed out the strong from the weak. The wall is there for a reason, to weed out the strong from the weak. Love is love. I appreciate all of you. Mark, Derek, I just saw my man, Josh, appreciate it, brother. Silas, Miriam, Marilyn, Jazz, Sue, Tommy, whoever, everybody else that had a chance to watch this, I appreciate and I love all of you. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. Namaste.